Alright, Sun in Cancer, Mercury in Leo. So, this is a very special place in my heart, for sure, this combination of energies. Um, some of my best friends and just absolute brothers of mine have this combination, so it's a real pleasure to be speaking about this. Where to begin? Where to begin? Where to begin? Okay, so as every Mercury and Leo person has, you have charisma, you have leadership potential, you have the ability to speak inspiringly and charismatically, and the ability to really to know what people at large, at a societal level, care about, what they feel about, what they think. And very ironically, that gift for being able to speak to people's hearts at large. For example, a lot of people with Mercury and Leo have are rock stars, or somebody who, for example, Barack Obama, Mercury and Leo, or a politician, or some kind of public figure that really connects to people. Even with a Sun in Cancer, which is a lot more sensitive, a lot more empathetic, a lot more about the home and whatnot. We'll get to that. But first, actually, indeed, because of that combination of Mercury in Leo and Sun in Cancer, you are able to connect with people through your own understanding of yourself. The more you come to terms with yourself, your family, your childhood, your past, your country, all of that, and the more that you're able to come to terms with that and to be at peace with it, not necessarily saying you accept every little facet without any kind of criticism, without any kind of ideas of what could be better when it comes to accepting, for example, nation or whatever else. Ultimately, the more you come to understand your environment and what makes you you, the more you're able to speak to broader numbers of people and to be more comfortable doing so, and to be really hitting the mark of what people need you to say, what they need to understand, what they need to hear. And not just on a superficial level, but in a very gratifying, as if you understand them at their deepest parts. This is because for all of the emphasis on ego that there is with Leo energy, ultimately those with Leo energy, for example Mercury and Leo, are very caring about others. Indeed, Mercury and Leo can be sometimes dogmatically caring about others, to the point of giving their advice or their perspective when it may not be needed or necessarily solicited. But that's something that's really nice about this Sun sign combined with this Mercury, is that Cancer energy gives you sensitivity. It allows you to mitigate a lot of the ego challenges of having Mercury and Leo, because it can be quite challenging. Every energy has its challenges. But Mercury and Leo has a very marked one of being very, well, egotistical, letting the ego and the mind be one, which has its gifts, again, the charisma, the inspiring leadership and whatnot. But ultimately, there is that huge challenge that accompanies that combination, which is that accompanies Mercury and Leo, which again just simply is being too self-focused, being too focusing on, instead of speaking to the vast quantities of people out there in a meaningful and heartfelt way, instead of that, focusing on how good am I going to look, how good am I going to sound, and to the point of detriment. I mean, it's good to think about these things if you feel like thinking about it, but ultimately it's important to get past that ego and to get past the whole I'm speaking to be heard, but instead I'm speaking because I have something to say. And so again, Sun in Cancer is so great in how it combines with that energy in a lot of ways. Namely, as we mentioned before, that combination of empathy and that combination of sensitivity and imagination, quite frankly. Oh, we'll get to that part. But combined with Mercury and Leo, allowing you guys to avoid the pitfalls of the Mercury and Leo energy, which is such a gift. It really is. Look at a Leo with Mercury and Leo, for example, or a Virgo with Mercury and Leo. As heartfelt and as wonderful as they may be in so many different ways, they are missing something that you guys with this combination of energies has, which is, again, that empathy, that ability to understand not just yourself. With Mercury and Leo, that is a very natural understanding for yourself, is to come to terms with yourself, but to be able to understand that self-understanding isn't everything, that other people deserve your care and your understanding as well, and that ultimately only caring about yourself isn't going to lead you anywhere really well. And of course, I'm not saying that all Leos and Virgos with Mercury and Leo feel this way. I don't think that's true at all, really. Especially those Virgos, but also with very mature lions out there. But having Sun in Cancer does give you a natural empathy that these other two sun signs really are hard pressed to find in themselves. Virgo can be extremely selfless and very caring and whatnot, but they can also be very rigid, being an earth sign, and they can be very focused on their own standards in life at the expense of perhaps other people's, especially the lower level manifestation of Virgo. Yes, certainly. As they go on, they get more understanding with their how to be a kindly leader with that Mercury and Leo. But it's difficult for them, and for the lions out there too, those Leos with Mercury and Leo. Yes, they're just as caring. The Sun and the Moon, aka Leo Sun and Cancer Moon, being that those are the astronomical bodies that rule these two energies, they are they're tightly joined together. The Sun and the Moon and their cycles affect the Earth in such a huge way, and in and the metaphor is very interesting to see how the caring, the intuition, the thoughtfulness and sweetness of Cancer energy really parallels with how the Moon interacts with our home planet here, and how it massages it, allowing waters to flow both in our body and currents and tides and whatnot in the oceans, rivers and whatnot, lakes. And how it provides that gravitational pull that really allows life to be possible here, and for thriving, not just surviving, but thriving to be possible. And of course, the Sun and the Earth's relation to the Sun, having to do with our seasons and having to do with how we live our lives. The Sun and the Moon very much represent astronomical bodies that care for the Earth. And I'm not meaning to suggest that these astronomical bodies have their own consciousness. I actually don't think that. But it is interesting to see how the personification of those bodies, namely Cancer and Leos, they embody that astronomical principle of steadying the Earth, of giving it the ability to have life. And so those with this energy, these combinations of energy, being a Cancer with Mercury and Leo, you are a moon child and a child of the Sun. And I think that is one of my favorite things about you guys, is you have the ability to be empathetic, to be the moon, to be nurturing, to be caring. And indeed, that's mainly because that's your sun sign. That's where you're most comfortable. Even if you say have Venus in Leo and Mars in Leo and rising Leo, like my buddy does, one of my friends who has this combination of energy in addition to the Sun and Mercury that we're mentioning. Still, you are a Cancer with this sun sign. You are naturally more sensitive. You're naturally more, you just care about people, and that's a really beautiful gift. A complement to that gift is that Mercury and Leo ability to stand strong. In comparison, for example, to a Cancer with Mercury and Cancer, they're very strong, don't get me wrong. Those people are very, very strong. But it's not quite as obvious, and their thinking isn't quite as individually based. It's creative, it's imaginative, but Mercury and Leo is one of the most creative placements you could ever have. And so any placement compared to Mercury and Leo is just going to pale in comparison, really, as to that creative power. Something that's really nice is, and we mentioned this before, the ego challenge of Mercury and Leo. Something that helps you guys get past this is the cardinal energy of Cancer. The cardinal signs, Cancer, Libra, Aries, and Capricorn, all start a season. In the Northern Hemisphere, summer is started with Cancer. And cardinal signs are all about beginnings, all about being very reliable people, being very tenacious people, able to create teams, to be the leaders of teams, or be key players of teams, to really push towards that goal and to accomplish it. that is cardinal energy. Now, what's nice is we have a fixed energy here, Mercury and Leo. Fixed is the energy that we rely on to really follow through on those goals that we started before. And so although cardinal signs are tenacious, they're able to get stuff done. Certainly fixed signs, it's just natural for fixed energy to be able to really follow through, to completely invest their life into something. Whereas a cardinal sign can very much have one main pursuit. They'll usually have some other pursuits and whatnot. A fixed sign is all about, boom, this is my life. And wherever we find a fixed energy in a chart, we get a very strong sense of how that person, in good and challenging ways, is very stubborn. In the good ways of Mercury and Leo, that fixed energy, you guys are stubborn in that you connect to your heart. You are stubborn at your best. You are stubbornly truthful to your own feelings, which is so beautiful. And I'm speaking specifically for the Sun and Cancer combination with this Mercury and Leo, is being able to speak to your own feelings in not just the fiery Leo ways of just being able to, roar, whether in singing or in speaking and oratory, or just in regular conversations, and just how you express yourself so dramatically and so beautifully and so creatively. But to access a deeper well of emotion than just the conscious egoic self. Say, for example, like a Sun and Leo with Mercury and Leo would be able to. And that has its merits. I'm not trying to say that any combination is better than the other. But something that's really great is that Mercury and Leo gives you that stubbornness, that really suits Sun and Cancer. Because Sun and Cancer, for being a cardinal sign, and because Cancers are very tough, don't let the sweet, nurturing aura fool you. They're extremely tough individuals, and they will fight to the death for those that they love and their family, and it's really incredible. And indeed, I would like to say real quick, it's important with this combination to extend your idea of family to the entire world and to not get caught up in, this is my, as I was saying before, it's important to reconcile who you are, where you come from, and all that. But then it's important, just as important, to move past that, to understand that, yes, I enjoy my culture, I enjoy where I come from on this planet, and I will do my best to stay true to that, to keep the creative traditions alive and my culture alive. But the world is my home. The world is my overall culture. There are no real divisions between human beings. Everybody calls this place home somewhere. So that's important. But yes, as I was saying before, when you guys are speaking from the heart, you're able to access such an interesting mix, because you have the conscious emotion. Fire is the emotional side of us, the subjective side that is very obvious, very, I don't want to say shallow, it's not shallow, but certainly compared to water energy, it's not as, it doesn't take into account deeper emotions, tragedies, traumas. Though certainly fire energy people can experience these things. To be a water sun sign is to feel so deeply that you feel other people's emotions. You know how they're feeling without them even speaking. This is something fire energy really doesn't come from. That's not their purview of existence. Water energy people are so sensitive because they're born to feel other people's emotions, to take them into account, and to do something good with that, to heal that person, and in the process heal themselves in some really special way. So this combination, I love it. This is one of my favorite combinations out there, quite frankly. And again, I don't mean to create hierarchy. All combinations are important, but just, I'm very biased. I'm a human being. Speaking from personal experience, this combination of Sun and Mercury energy is just so, your abilities to be imaginative, your abilities to be creative, your abilities to lead others, and yet to be calm and placid and not have to lead others. That's a great gift, and one that, quite frankly, the other sun signs with this Mercury energy could really learn a lot from, is how to sit back and let others do their thing. Don't get me wrong, with this the combination of energies, you will have your say. You will not feel fulfilled if you don't allow your voice to be heard, either creatively or during leadership meetings or whatever. But at the end of the day, you're able to sit back and to feel out people in ways that the other sun signs aren't. And this particular fire and water combination, you're able to really act decisively and as a leader with that which you feel. So, to sum up, follow your emotions, follow your intuitive leanings, follow what feels good, what calls to your heart. Get past nationalistic boundaries. It's really important because this combination can get so wrapped up in where they come from that they perpetuate negative traditions such as stereotypes or phobias between peoples that really we need to do away with. And Mercury and Leo naturally burns past. The sun doesn't care what color we are. It doesn't care what our religion is or who we're attracted to or whatever. It's just giving off life. It's just giving off pure joy and love and warmth. And so it's really important with this Mercury to let it burn away, rather to let it boil stagnated, swampy, emotional areas of yourself, to allow clear, pure water to be flowing through. And what that is love, is acceptance, is tolerance and understanding of others. That is that clear, pure water. Not the stagnated emotions of this is mine, this is theirs, this is ours, this is us versus them, all that shit. That really is a waste of your energies, quite frankly. With this combination of Mercury and Sun, it's important to embrace the entire world, just as the Sun and the Moon do, and to help foster that feeling of family for everybody. So go, create, feel, nurture, guide. You are at once the father and the mother energy. Cancer being the mom, Leo, of course, the dad. Not to put stereotypes, but overall, the feminine and masculine energy. Both are very capable of being either, but still, that is what naturally comes to you. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Enjoy being the one that people turn to, whose advice is in part empathy and sympathy, and in part inspiring and encouraging them to go forth and to be themselves even more, and to achieve their dreams even more. You are a powerful, powerful person, and your support is so much more important than you realize. I guarantee you. So stay humble, but remember that from time to time when you're feeling down or if you're in a mood because the moon and whatnot, say it's a full moon or whatever, remember that you are important, that you really help this world, and of course that's true for all the sun signs and Mercury combinations, but you specifically, you are geared towards helping this world in very heartfelt and very healing ways. Your emotions, although they can pose their challenges, which is what we've talked about before, they are your greatest gift. I urge you to use them for good, and it'll just be a beautiful spiral in an upward direction of feeling better, helping others even more, feeling even better, helping others even more. It'll never end. And you'll be amazed at how much respect you get and how much people really care about you because of the care that you put forth. Namaste.